Woo, welcome everybody. Everyone is rolling in. Fantastic. Okay, usually I say hi to everybody as they arrive, but there's so many of you. Sharon, James, Victor, Magdalena, Jamie, Claire. And more on the way. Great to have you all. Welcome, welcome. Good to see some familiar faces. Great to have you with us on this special edition of a Microsolidarity call, because we are streaming a live tour today from Casa Tilo, Rich and Nati's house. I'm going to be hosting the call today, that I'm going to be handing over very shortly to Michal. You can already get a little sneak peek of the beautiful view there. While people are just getting admitted in, I'm just going to pin this lovely video. Look at all that. Oh. This is them looking slightly awkward, waiting to tell you all about it. Okay, I'm going to get dizzy, but thanks, Jonas. Jonas is our cameraman. Sweet. Oh, hey, Franca. Welcome, welcome. So we're not going to do a big intro of everyone today. We've just got 32 minutes, so we're going to actually roll straight in, because we have a lot we want to share with you. And yeah, it's your Saturday, so that's really lovely that you've wanted to join us on your weekend. And we're really excited to share a little sneak peek of what we've been up to. We've been working right up to the last hour, but I'm not going to share too much more, because that's what all of our the other hosts are going to introduce you to. So in a moment, I'm going to hand you over to Michal. Michal, are you ready?
Yes, perfect. Welcome, everyone. So good to have you here with us in this beautiful place in Spain, where we are creating a deck of cards for Microsolidarity enthusiasts, practitioners, and all people interested. And I'm here with the wonderful host of this house, Rich and Natty. And I thought, let's start our little tour today with asking, why Microsolidarity? What's the whole thing in a nutshell? Why people be interested in a deck of cards of this mysteriously named concept?
The whole thing in a nutshell. The whole thing in a nutshell.
I even have a microphone.
Oh,
how professional!
Hello, this is the
You can
sound
hold
of my
it. Yeah.
podcast voice. Microsolidarity in a nutshell. Well, how do I describe it? It's a technique for building community. Okay, I think many of us can connect with the sense of how life is so much better when you have community, relationships, support, collaborators, lovers, people to do stuff with. And there's a sense some of us feel like somehow we're being more individualistic, more atomized, more... It's like the social fabric is getting thin in recent decades. And so Microsolidarity is like a network of community organizers who are trying to reverse that trend of loneliness and build more satisfying relationships, weaving social fabric together.
Amazing. And it definitely works. I remember a few years ago when I first read the original essay that was published, and blew my mind. I was like, wow, this just sounds like legit thing. So I started doing that, and actually brought results. So thanks for putting that in the world.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, this is the challenge. It's like relationships are personal and unique, and in the specific context that you're in and the culture that you're in. And here we are as kind of social engineers trying to articulate and make a map of the ineffable and say, just follow these 5 steps and then you'll find satisfying friendships and a community of belonging. It's a kind of impossible paradox. And yet we seem to be discovering some patterns of community building that actually do translate. They actually do deliver results. And that's what we're trying to capture in this deck of cards. That's it's not just information, but these are specific actions you can take. This is a way of relating to your friend or your neighbor that you can try today that's going to kickstart that process.
Wonderful. Thanks so much for this introduction. We can continue our tour, the final goodbye, and we move to the next station, because, well, we are in the house, and it's a special house where, as far as I understand, the opening event of this magical place, where we have 18 people,
18 people right now.
18 people working together for a couple of days, creating of this deck of cards for Microsolidarity.
That one.
Working together, living together. What is this place?
So this house is called Casa Tilo, and it's because of that beautiful linden tree that is there. There is Tilo in Spanish or Castellano. And we are an hour away from Barcelona city in the middle of a beautiful national park. And we just opened. So this is a place that we're going to be running retreats and lots of events and team events and residential trainings and groups like Microsolidarity coming and doing this crazy building of a card deck on 4 days. So all of those things will be happening in the house, at least for the next 2 years. So we'll see where we go from there. But yeah, we just opened. So this is our first event.
It was kind of a dream of yours for a long time, no?
Yeah.
As long as I remember knowing you, there was always this desire to have a
Indeed.
place.
Yeah, and now we do.
here.
Do you want to come in?
Let's go in!
Let's go in.
So as we are going to explore the insides, there's actually a play testing session happening because we invited some guests also for an event in person to test the deck of cards. But before I'm going to introduce our guest, I'm going to show you why cards and how this whole process started.
You want to hold that one?
Yeah. So come over here. Our journey begins with a simple but powerful blank card. And this is basically, we spent 3 days playing these cards and creating different ideas, putting different practices and possibilities of engaging with Microsolidarity on cards. And then we generated, I think, around 200 something of cards, put them together. And well, it's a combination of practices, things you can do as a Microsolidarity practitioner, but also concepts around Microsolidarity, what it actually is and what are the most important ideas connected to it and how do they connect to each other. And then because it's a deck of cards, how could you actually use it? Like what are the mechanics that allow you to bring them to an event or maybe to your crew, speaking the Microsolidarity language, and use these cards to deepen the relationships and practice Microsolidarity. It's kind of interesting. We already have a snooze box, plenty of cards that were already digitized and turned and left for later. And there's even possibility of creating an expansion set, which might come later, with some ideas more for congregation hosts. So we identified that the congregation is kind of a different beast, more complex, requires more scoping and more knowledge building. And we're creating the whole thing in 5 days. So it's very intense hackathon space, and we actually finished printing the first version of the cards just now, and now it's being play tested. So you can literally see the very first ever session of Microsolidarity deck.
Either ones or small groups living in a community house as well helps. There's always small group like at lunch or at dinner, and we have all our meals together, so that's good. One-on-ones, just like you, are good to go deep. I love them. And large groups, love them too. Bit of a party, bit of a festival, bit of a wiggly butts. Love that.
Thank you. And I think somebody's here. Yes.
Yeah, I was just mentioning to the people that are watching our virtual walkthrough that this is the very first ever demonstration and prototyping live session of our deck.
Here they are.
Which literally arrived in your hands like maybe 23 minutes ago.
There's something around that. Yeah.
How's it going so far? What is this deck for? What are the use cases? And what are you trying to do here with our wonderful guests?
Well, so we're just testing it out for the first time and seeing if the flow is good, like do the cards make sense? And now we're just asking some introductory questions, and then we dive into the depth of the deck. So we're just kind of still in the introductory phase, but we already have some insights that. Yes.
And this is kind of the whole idea of the building in public, which is also kind of one of the principles and ideas behind Microsolidarity, right? To test something that is not finished, not polished yet, and engage others and build it together, make it better by active collaboration. Perfect, well. I'll leave you to it.
Well, thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Let's flow to the next station. So since we have around 80 cards right now in our deck, we're aiming for 60 to 80 in the final deck. We'll still see what's going to be the final number. We also, of course, have illustrations on the cards because, well, they just look nicer, right? So here's our wonderful illustrator. You can see she even made her own roll card, the illustrator, and she's been here chopping away and illustrating many cards.
I have my little private cave here. It's my illustrating den. Feels very cozy and safe, and sometimes people come here and they help me, and yeah, my little corner.
How's your experience so far? How does it feel to illustrate lots of images in a very short amount of time, from like 0 to hero?
It feels great. Like the first few days, I was mostly nailing down the style, and then today everything started coming in because most of the cards were made today. So it's just like a lot of input, and I've just been all day just sitting here, listening to sidetrends on my headphones, and just like going, and making lots of drawings.
How many do you still think you have to go through?
40 something.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Thank
It
you.
seems like you're handling it well.
Yeah.
You want to show us something? What's your favorite one that you made so far? Let's have a little sneak peek for our viewers. I can flip the...
Yeah, I can show you also here. No, it will switch off. I'll show it
Perfect.
here.
You can get a little sneak peek into the visuals behind the Microsolidarity deck.
I kind of like. So it has no text yet here, but this is one about overcoming obstacles. So there's like a big obstacle on the floor that's a hole, but it's like inviting you to come in, and you can make mistakes and then you can grow from your mistakes. Or maybe it seems like a big hole and then it's not going to be such a big hole and it's going to be fun, and then you persevere.
Amazing. And the visual idea for the cards is that they're going to be illustrated. On one side, there's the kind of title of the card and the visual representation of the concept, and then you flip the card around and then you find the kind of deeper dive, the text behind it, the actions that you're about to explore with your friends, or maybe some concepts or other ideas. Wonderful. I think we covered some of the most important stations. So I wonder if the next step is to open the space for the people on the call to perhaps ask some questions. So I'll pass it back to you, Jocelyn. And if there's some questions in the chat, and if you want to introduce also the ways to engage with our deck and provide feedback and all this other stuff.
Absolutely. Thanks so much, Michal. That was very informative. I loved reading in the chat that it's been very entertaining, even for a 5-year-old, to be watching this tour. So well done, guys. Yeah, I'd love to open up the... James would love to see more of the house. And will the cards be available as NFTs? I'm not involved in that kind of world, but maybe someone's already offered to digitize them and make a digital version. We haven't really got yet around to the marketing aspect of like how it's all going to be made available beyond the print version. But if we hear some requests, we'll definitely consider it. It's still very much in the, it could become something based on your input. So yeah, maybe before I open questions, you did say, Michal, what is the use case of this? And maybe I'll just explain that a little bit first. So one thing cool. So we've kind of created this deck for two kind of gameplays. One is you have a group of friends or a team, and you want to use the deck to support the team to feel a bit more connected and create more sense of microsolidarity in your group together. You could start with a team that has no idea about microsolidarity at all, and there's some really like soft entry ways to get people around talking about conversations that are connected to Microsolidarity without using any of the jargon yet. And then you get deeper into the deck and you get more and more complex concepts coming in as you go or as you choose. The second use case is if you are showing up to an event, it's some prompts and suggestions, ideas, concepts for how can you be the kind of person that makes that event pop? Like, how can you be the kind of person who tweaks the vibe, helps people feel more connected, brings about more depth or intimacy and connectivity in the group itself. So that's kind of two of the main use cases. I imagine if you're just going through it, and you can also just use it for yourself to reflect on all these questions and deepen your own practice on your own. But I think the real power and magic of it comes about through using it as a game, either creating your own game by going to an event or gamifying a group of friends in an explorative way. Do you reckon that captures it, Michal, or is there anything else you would want to add?
Yeah, I think that sounds about right, with those two main kind of targets. And yeah, the way to do it is just by picking the cards. We're going to have some cards that activate you to actually use the deck in a certain way. And we chose the format of a deck of cards because it feels like it's something playful and fun and something you can really carry with you to an event and keep it in your pocket, a bit less clunky than a book. And also we want to open up the possibility for people to participate in shaping Microsolidarity and adding their practices. So there's going to be, well, first of all, possibility of just discovering new pathways between just simply connecting 3 cards together, and maybe that will produce a very interesting result. And also there's going to be blank cards in the deck that allow you to add your own best practices and maybe your own best ideas that you find are very relevant for your context, and then match them with some other cards that exist in the deck. And then, of course, we will encourage sharing those practices in our network and supporting other community builders with the knowledge that we find through using this deck. But yeah, I think this is the main idea.
Absolutely. Super. I want to then hand it over to you guys. Feel free to, maybe we can do the raise hand. Now let's just do open your mic if you want to share something that's not too big of a group, or you can put your question in the chat if you don't want to unmute yourself. But yeah, I see. Will it be available as a printable PDF? For now, I know we're going to print it as an actual card deck, but we could consider having it as a PDF as well for you to print out at home. I don't know. We'll keep it in the pocket.
Yeah. For now, what we were focusing on, because yeah, like one thing to understand that we're doing it in the kind of mastermind hackathon style. So we literally came here, 3 days ago, and started with an opening in the evening, spent 3 days producing the cards, and tomorrow is our last day. So the main focus of this sprint is create the deck. And we haven't yet explored a lot the distribution and kind of production and things like the digital layer. That kind of comes in the post-production phase. So next week, some of us will stay here and we're going to dive into the secondary stage of deck building. So I feel we're still not sure exactly how the deck will be available, but of course the intention is to make it as available as possible to people to use. So we just need to figure out kind of the mechanics behind it. And the distribution channels. But definitely all these opportunities and possibilities are open, and feel free to, as Jocelyn said before, like if you have a specific idea or a request, let us know and we'll consider how we can make that happen. And just to address the one question that was also mentioned before, the digital layer, it's also something that for now we didn't think about, like the possibility of making NFTs out of cards and, you know, adding the whole potential of digitally interacting with the cards. It's kind of beyond the scope of the first mastermind and just those couple of days together. And with that in mind, we're very much open to that. So this possibility exists, and we're anticipating that now we'll take some time to process the ideas that will come from the playtesting today and finalize the deck, get it to the place where we're ready to print. And from there, we can build on top all sorts of extra funky, nice add-ons to make it available across multiple formats and increase just the way of engaging and playing with it.
Awesome. Thanks, Michal. I can also see there's a wish for seeing more of the house for people who would possibly want to come visit, like with like a little like enticement, I imagine. Maybe we can do that towards the end of the call because there's also some other questions, unless you want to walk and talk. But
I can walk and talk, and we can be kind of, you know, you can figure out what the spaces are and you can drop a question and we can navigate two simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm going to pin you so it's easier to see what
Perfect.
you're showing us. Okay,
The
there's a
kitchen.
great question. Yes, the kitchen. There's a question about, will you be offering an online trial play session? I can already say yes on the next monthly network call, which is on 5th of June. I'm just going to paste the Open Collective link in the chat so that you can register to become an Open Collective member with us, and then you get the link to our monthly network calls. Here's the beautiful outdoors. There's Rich and Natty ping ponging. The pool is delicious.
That's the nice features of the house. There's this whole patio outdoors with the ping pong table and the pool and the beautiful green forest all around with some hills. And if you climb one of them, you can even see all the way to the ocean. So it's a super nice space for groups, I guess, up to kind of 20-something people to hang out and create things together. We'll continue the tour as you ask more questions.
Fantastic. I like this question of how long does it take to play the game? I want to maybe play at an upcoming event with a group that I'd like to connect for the very first time. Would that be possible?
Yes, I mean the idea is that the actual gameplay is a little bit defined by the amount of cards that you want to bring. So I imagine that you could extend your session and make with, you know, a few hours like proper event based on playing cards, just because there's around 60 to 80 in the deck. So there's quite a lot of things you can go through. But I could also imagine using it more as a sort of rapid fire, quick type of thing where, you know, you maybe use it as a warm-up icebreaker or one of the deep dives for half an hour or 15 minutes or 20 minutes. So I guess this kind of questions of how long is just depends on how deep do you want to dive and how many cards you want to bring with you. And also the kind of the point of the fact that it's a deck of cards, it's up to you to decide which cards do you want to bring with you to an event and how do you want to use them. And there's the whole process in the deck as well around assessing what is meaningful for you and what is the kind of growth edge, what is the kind of practice that would serve you the most in your hosting journey, whether it's hosting a crew or leading towards hosting a congregation. And then based on that, you maybe select 3 cards or 7 cards or 1 card that you want to practice at your next meeting or an event. And then you focus on the cards that you select. So this is something that you can self-select and adjust depending on the needs that you have in your context.
Thanks, Michal. Let's see. Yeah, let's see more of the inside. Rebecca asked, will the cards be available for purchase today? Maybe while you're heading through, I can share that. No, they won't be available today because we're still developing and fine-tuning them after today's gameplay practice. And also in the coming week, we'll refine them and tweak them a little bit as well. So, but if you're here today and even if you've registered for the call but didn't make it, you will get a discount code so that as soon as they're ready for sale, we'll let you know about that and you can be one of the first people to purchase them.
And I'm still basically walking around the house, but I'm going to point at a very important feature, which is downstairs, this wonderful stairway, which is a chest of costumes. I mean, it's one of the essential features of the house. Here's basically the rooms. We can do a little sneak peek. There's quite a few of them. So it's like a really nice, comfortable, Spanish style place to chill. And then you can look through a beautiful window and admire the pool and the lush green scenery. It's quite amazing that you can't really see the neighbors. There are some neighboring houses, but actually you can't really see them from anywhere. So it creates this feeling of really being nurtured by nature. It's really peaceful in here. I'm really enjoying this place.
Awesome. I've got another question about the cards from Sinus. Are you going to have more colors or are they all going to be magenta?
We're still deciding. We kept the color because it's the kind of the Microsolidarity color that's been used so far. And we kind of like this idea, and there's also an idea we're exploring of potentially adding a marker to the deck that you can make your own cards using the same color. But yeah, it's still something, there's a few design choices. Like, of course, we are designing for usability and practicality, and we have cards that are on different types, so we're still deciding how to kind of make it easy to use, right? And color coding is one of the ways. But in general, we like the pink vibes. We're going that direction, so expect a lot of Microsolidarity pink.
Cool. I've got no other questions coming through in the chat. Does anybody want to share any more by unmuting yourselves? Or it doesn't have to be questions, it can also be like comments, or yeah, what do you think? What do you feel excited about this card deck? Eric says, thank you for the great tour and deck preview. Really excited you're making it. Franco, when do you imagine the cards might be ready for distribution?
That's a fantastic question. I mean, the idea is that we want to finish next week. So after the weekend, the kind of production phase and post-production, and then we're moving to the distribution. So I would say there's quite a few post-production steps for us to figure out. So I don't want to put like a commitment of a date when we're going to be launching, but I would expect it to be sometime in May or June. So it shouldn't be too far away. Basically, the intention is to ship it relatively soon. Like we have maybe at this point, I would say something around 76% of the deck is complete. And that means that today we're going to gather the feedback. We're play testing it with real world users, gathering feedbacks, finding the things that don't work. We already have some ideas of how to improve it, just because, after you print your thing and you make it not a thing that you're just working on, but it's somehow shipped, just your relationship to it changes. So we're at this stage now. So then tomorrow we're going to close this process of creation, take a day off, and then come back to it from Monday and move to this finalizing, editing, polishing. Silvia will keep completing illustrations in the next couple of days. So yeah, I would imagine that most of the process should be wrapped up by the end of next week. And then it's just a question of distribution of the deck. It's something that, the print-on-demand cards doesn't really exist yet, or I'm not aware of good solutions that cater to that need. So then there's this whole question around distribution, and we have people interested in Microsolidarity in the US and in Europe and some other continents as well. So there's the whole question of how we're going to deal with that, with the shipping and stuff. So yeah, I would say a couple of weeks until we're ready to ship, and we might already start accepting pre-orders after we finish the actual creation, and that hopefully will finish in the next week. That's at least my personal objective.
I've got a nice question here. Someone would like an example for a card question. So maybe I can have a look at our little Figma board. I think I'll share one of the first questions from the sort of warm-up deck. If you were joining as a crew or a group of friends who you might want to form a crew with them, one of the warm-up questions, the very first one, is how do you ideally like to divide your time between, it says these different group sizes, and on the back you get a little pie chart image where it says solitude, one-on-one, small group, large group. So that's just a nice conversation opener about what kind of social engagement do you like. Then one of the more advanced, from the other end of the spectrum, maybe more of the wisdom cards. Let's see, what are some nice questions here? Some of them are more abstract. Like there's one about every living thing grows inside something else. So this is a card that's more helping you reflect on like more of a meta principle. It says, do you ever notice the similarities across different scales? Notice how groups of 3 make up groups of 9, make up groups of 50. So those are some cards that you might just use as a reflection for the day, or even in your group of noticing group dynamics, or even journaling for yourself to see what are you noticing on that more meta scale. So it really ranges from very beginning opening questions to the deep ones like that. Hope that gives you a little insight.
And maybe one thing to add to this is that when we were creating the deck, what kind of became quite clear after a day of creation is the kind of categories of cards or types of cards. So we had this informational cards that just basically explore a concept like this, you know, every living being lives inside of something else. And there's the kind of activation cards, so cards that get you to do stuff and practice. And also play with the deck, like pick 3 cards and find patterns in between and then test those things with your crew. And then there's also the, what was the other? The starter cards. So the kind of the beginner's cards, the 7 most important things. Like if you're not familiar with Microsolidarity and you just want to start and start well, just have a look at these 7 cards and start there. And that will give you enough of the solid foundations to actually build your Microsolidarity journey from scratch, and kind of either coming from a lower context. And yeah, as Justin said, the kind of the questions, the reflection questions, and also the informational side of the deck is designed in almost like this different levels. So it caters more to the beginners, people that just maybe are starting, maybe never even heard of Microsolidarity and just are interested in experimenting with community building practices, all the way to more advanced practitioners that maybe been in the scene for years. And we still want to bring some insights and new practices and new ideas to reflect upon.
Awesome. Michal, guess what? It's 6:31 and we promised these guys 32 minutes. So we're going to wrap up here. Look at that.
Perfect timing.
If anyone wants to hang on for another 5 minutes, I'll be here for a little after party moment. But yeah, it's been great having you all. This call will be recorded. We'll put it on the Microsolidarity YouTube channel. So if you want to share it with your friends, go ahead. Or if you want to rewatch it, it'll be there for you. As I said, we'll have another call on June 5th, the first Thursday of the month, monthly network call, where you get to have a trial practice with the cards. I put the link in the chat for how you can sign up to become a member of Open Collective, and then you'll get the Zoom link. I'll put it there again for you. Thanks, everyone. Bye for now. Feel free to unmute yourself and say bye-bye.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Thanks for the tour.
Bye.
Gracias.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, hi. It's so weird seeing me. Wait a second. Find a pew. That was great. Look, I did a little card.
You
that says,
rock it,
bye.
guys. Congratulations. Yeah.
Can you hear them?
So fun.
Yeah, I still have the headphone.
Cool.